Hey everyone, this is Dylan, and today we're going to be doing my top 10 best discoveries of 2024. These are the 10 movies that I watched in 2024 that were not released in 2024. So they could be released anytime between 2023 and beyond. Keep that in mind when I am giving you this list. And this is also movies that I watched for the first time in full in 2024. So those are the criteria for my list. A disclaimer, did not watch every single movie ever made. So these are just the things that I watched this year that I really liked. Coming in at number 10 is a movie called Greener Grass. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. And I watched this on Mubi. I believe that it's available other places, but that's where I watched it. I had a subscription to Mubi, so I was like, let me watch this. This looks kind of interesting because the image that they were using to promote it were two people that had braces on, and it looked like they had been making out, and then there was just like this little thing of saliva that was connecting the one mouth to the other. So I was like, this seems real weird. And let me tell you, this movie was bonkers. And it was so bonkers that I was like, this is just kind of like fun. So there's like a storyline about this woman who wants to, or who has a kid, and this other parent at the soccer game is like, oh, I really wish that I had a kid. So the woman who had the kid just gives her the kid and then is sad about it the rest of the movie. It's basically a commentary on like suburbia, but it's so interesting. Every single character has braces. It's just like, the one guy is like obsessed with pool water popsicles. I would check it out. It's just weird. The two main actresses are the ones who directed and wrote it, and then there's also a guy, I forget what his name is. It's like Becker or something, or Beckett, something like that. He was on SNL, so he was a familiar face, but yeah, this is just like a really weird film, and I would definitely recommend checking this out if you're kind of into that weirdness. It's definitely more of a comedy, so keep that in mind, but like off the wall bonkers comedy. Then coming in at number 9, we have the movie Ticks. This was a movie that Vinegar Syndrome released a couple years ago. And I was interested in watching it then because I believe Olive Films or whatever, they had a Blu-ray of it out that went long out of print, was a lot of money to buy. So I had never seen Ticks. And then Vinegar Syndrome released it, and it was a little expensive. And then during one of their sales, I ended up picking up, I think for like $20, which was pretty cool. And I watched it, not really thinking too much about it. I kind of thought that it was going to be not the greatest film, and I was pleasantly surprised how much I liked this film. It is all practical. It's definitely like a lower budget film. Definitely not anything crazy, but the ticks are really interesting, and also the characters are pretty good. It's like I believe that it was like not a halfway house, but like a juvenile rehabilitation center. Maybe weren't the best in school and stuff like that. Go camping, and these ticks start to affect them. One of the big characters one of the big actors in this film is Seth Green. He is in this, so I really liked it. All the effects are practical, so that's also really that also really helps with the enjoyability of this. And overall, I was pleasantly surprised with how good this is. I gave this a 4 out of 5. Coming in at number 8, we have To Die For. Now, this is a film that I really hadn't heard about until the Criterion came out, I did have the VHS of this film. Never got around to watching it. I just knew that Nicole Kidman was on the front, and she was kind of in this like sexy black lingerie type thing. Maybe she wasn't even in lingerie, but it seemed like I remember this like black dress that she was in. And so I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. We'll see what this is about. And then never got around to watching it. And Criterion came out with the 4K of this film, and I didn't realize that it had been directed by Gus Van Sant and that it was also based off of a true crime kind of story, which was the Amy Smart story. And so this film is really good. So it is about a young reporter at a really local TV station who's doing some sort of story on high school kids, and she kind of like falls for some of these high school kids, or one of these high school kids in particular, and they come up with this plan that they're going to unalive her husband so that they can be together. But it kind of, well, obviously it doesn't really work out very well based off of the story, but I really liked it, and I thought Nicole Kidman gave a really good performance. We also have Joaquin Phoenix in a really early role in this film, who's playing like the high school love interest. So I definitely recommend checking that out. And I also gave that a 4 out of 5 stars. Then coming in at number 7, we have the first 4.5 out of 5 star film for me, and this is Poor Things. Now, I watched this in 2024, came out in 2023. I think it came out at the end of 2023, but based off of my criteria for my best discoveries, it doesn't count for 2024, so I wanted to include it here because I did really like it. Now, this is also a kind of weird film. We have Emma Stone, and she's kind of playing a almost like Bride of Frankenstein type character, which is also interesting because we've got a Bride of Frankenstein movie coming out in 2025. So she's kind of playing this Bride of Frankenstein character who is being introduced to the world, and she wants to live and she wants to explore, and she was really created to stay with that Willem Dafoe's character and kind of like be a companion for him and the other guy. But she really kind of gains this self-confidence in her and self-acceptance, and she doesn't want that. She doesn't want the patriarchy in this film to tell her what to do, so she kind of just goes out and does what she wants to do all on her own, and I really liked it. This movie might have been a touch long, but overall I thought it was great performances. It deserved all the awards that it got. I think Emma Stone did really great in this role, and really happy with this. Coming in at number 6, we have a film called Short Bus. One thing I will let you know, so you're aware of this film if you're interested in watching it, is that it is a more adult film. I believe it has an NC-17 rating, and it does include unsimulated adult scenes. But it's not a adult film. It's like an actual film, but it does have some of those scenes. And this is a film that came out from the director of Hedwig and the Angry Inch. And so I was interested in checking this one out because I'd heard a lot about it, particularly those interesting scenes. But I was so enraptured with this story. And we're following a couple different couples in this film. There is, I believe, a straight couple. Then you have a queer throuple and a couple other things. And they're just navigating their relationships and their lives. And it's really interesting seeing these characters. And there's a really sad story, the gay couple in this film. And I'll leave it at that. I don't want to spoil anything, but it was really emotional. But it's definitely a film that I really enjoyed. I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 stars, and it's definitely something that I would recommend checking out. I believe that it was streaming on Mubi. I'm not sure if it still is. Oscilloscope Laboratories did release a Blu-ray of it if you're interested in picking that up. And then coming in at number 5, we have a film called Dark Harvest. I think this also came out in 2023. I had been looking everywhere for it, but I couldn't find it to watch. And then it popped up on Amazon Prime, so I gave it a watch there. Now, this is a film that is based off of a novella that was released, and I did listen to the novella, I think, before I watched the film, and I don't really remember too much about the novella, just to be honest. I need to listen to it, because I think it's only like 2-hour audiobook. And so I watched this film, and I really liked it. There's some really interesting twists in this film, and it really kind of boils down to like people that feel like they're trapped in a small town. So the premise of this film is that every year this small town has like a hunt that they do go on, and the teenagers go on. And so you're trying to be the one that gets this character. I don't remember what they called him. It was like Jacksaw or something like that. But it's basically like this creature that gets buried every year and then emerges around Halloween. And he has like a pumpkin head and a long slender body, kind of a little bit like a more realistic version of like Jack Skellington type of thing. And so the whole idea is that all of the teenage boys in this town go and try to hunt down this creature without dying. You really want to capture this creature because your family will get like a new house, you get a lot of money, and then you kind of get to go off to, I think some of the characters like go to like New York after they've won. They leave this small town, and we find out some like really big twists in this film that really change your perspective, and I just thought it was really interesting. I really ended up liking this, and it's definitely going to be on my rotation of things that I watch during the fall and Halloween season for sure. Coming in at number 4, we have a film called Of an Age. This is an Australian film. So we have our main character, and he has a best friend who has a brother. And so the main character is a guy who he hangs out with this brother for, they have like this whirlwind 24 hours because the older brother of the friend is about to move away. And so they just they really connect. What brings them together is the friend is like in the middle of, has like went somewhere and partied, woke up, and they have to go find her. And so that's kind of what gets them together. And then they start kind of have this like little whirlwind 24-hour relationship, and then the older brother moves away, and then it picks up 10 years later at the friend's wedding, and things are really interesting in this film. This film hit really hard for me. I've never been in a situation like this, but it was just something that I felt like I related to, especially when it popped back up 10 years later, and some of the feelings that this character was having really resonated with me, and it was really impactful. I think I did cry during this film, so it was really, really emotional, and I could definitely relate to some of the things that were going on in this film. So I ended up giving this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Really liked this one. If you're familiar with, I think it's a British film, it's called Weekend. This is referred to as Australia's version of The Weekend, but not the musical singer. Coming in at number 3, we have The Doom Generation. So this is a film, this is one of Gregor Rocky's films that just came out from the Criterion Collection on 4K. This is another one that I've heard quite a bit about and never got around to watching, and then I saw that they had the Criterion come out, so I was like, I definitely got to pick that up. So this film stars James Duvall and Rose McGowan, who are a couple, and they meet a small-time criminal, and they kind of do a almost like Thelma and Louise type of situation where they kind of go on the run after this guy commits a crime in front of them, and they aren't being held hostage, but they're kind of more or less like accomplices to this crime. This is like really interesting film. I really liked it. It's weird in like all the right ways, and it is a really also like sexy film. Like they're kind of like a throuple at points, and that's a really interesting dynamic in this film. Based off of this like teenage apocalypse story that Gregg Araki was doing with those three films, I'm a big fan of Gregg Araki's based off of that. So I definitely liked this film and gave this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Coming in at number 2, we have Rotting in the Sun. This is I think a movie exclusive. I really liked this film. I did a review of it, so I'll give a little iCard up in the corner to be able to see that review if you're interested in that. This is another film I will give the warning that it is a more adult film and does include some of those unsimulated adult scenes. But this is about this guy who is really depressed, and he's thinking of ending things. He goes to a gay beach, a nude beach, and he's just kind of hanging out. He goes and saves somebody's drowning in the ocean, so he swims out there, saves them, and comes back, and then he almost starts drowning. He gets saved. This guy who he saved invites him to a party later, and they find out that this guy that he saved was this like Instagrammer, and the guy who is our main guy, he is a television director and producer, movie producer, stuff like that. So he has a couple movies. The guy he saved, big fan. They want to work together. This movie is part in Spanish, part in English, but there is a twist that happens, I think 30 minutes into this film, that changes everything. And it's crazy, but it's like really good. I was like, whoa. I was like dumbfounded by this twist. I was like, are you serious? It's like the twist of Hereditary. And when that happens, you're just kind of like in shock. And it takes you like a moment to get situated, digest what happened. And so I ended up really enjoying this film. Second on my list of best discoveries, gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. And then my top discovery of 2024 was American Psycho. So I know that I'm really late to this American Psycho train. I'd seen clips from American Psycho, never watched the full thing, never really felt like I needed to watch the full thing. I had even been Patrick Bateman for Halloween a couple of years just because I was familiar with the character, but I never watched the movie. Over last summer, I watched the film, and when I started my job, we could listen to music, we could listen to whatever while we were doing our work, and so I had downloaded Audible, and I rented the American Psycho book. I kind of had this like American Psycho phase this summer where I was like obsessed with American Psycho. It was like all I talked about and so I really liked the book, really liked the movie. I was like getting into like the musical. I am a big American Psycho fan. I really liked it. And so I'm really interested to see the future of American Psycho with Luca Guadagnino and Austin Butler doing that remake, but loved American Psycho. Definitely recommend checking it out if you've never seen it before. Definitely my top film of 2024. Gave it a 5 stars out of 5 stars. So perfect for me. So that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments down below what your top discoveries of 2024 were. And remember, if you're not already subscribed and you'd like to be, please hit that subscribe button down below and give this video a like if you liked it. Thank you guys for watching and have a great day. Bye.